Probe into alleged wrongdoing at the Nelson Mandela Foundation has cleared two of its executive leaders. The chief executive, Sello Hatang, and the operations officer, Limpho Monyamane, will resume their duties in the next few days. The two have been on voluntary special leave during an investigation after anonymous complaints were laid against them in December. The complainant had alleged bullying, intimidation, as well as using the foundation's credit card for personal use. What else came out of this investigation, and what is a new way forward now? Let's hear from the CEO himself, Mr. Sello Hatang. Tate Hatang, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. First up, I have to ask you, how do you feel now that you and your colleague have been cleared of any wrongdoing by an independent investigation?
Thank you very much, Tate Moyane. I think it's a sense of relief. These things can go wrong. That you did nothing wrong, and it still comes out that there might have been something that you did wrong. So one is relieved when the outcome comes out the way it did. It was rough, but now we're looking forward to rebuilding from where we were, and hopefully we will be working with all colleagues and the board for us to be able to do so. I want to maybe pass my greatest condolences on behalf of the board of the Nelson Mandela Foundation before we continue to the Zulu Kingdom, to say that the loss of King Zwelithini is one that we'll all feel. So on behalf of the board and staff and management of the NMF, we want to pass our condolences.
I'm sure your sympathies are well noted, Tate Hatang. Does the board still have trust you, or do you think you still enjoy the confidence of the board after this very tough investigation?
I think I do, Tate Moyane, and had I not had the confidence of the board, I think the board would have decided, look, the risk is too high for me and Limpho to come back. And the fact that the board then decided to give this to an independent investigating team, and they came to the conclusions they did, and the board then decided that they should reinstate us. I should state up front also that when the matter was brought to my attention the very first time, I actually asked the chairman of the board, I said, look, I'm happy to leave the NMF if it will save the Nelson Mandela Foundation from any kind of embarrassment, even though I know I did nothing wrong, but I didn't want the brand to suffer as a result of some personal vendetta that might have been there. So I signaled upfront when I got it the first time that I was happy to resign, not because I was guilty of anything, but because I wanted to save the institution, so that the institution can then have the confidence of people out there. But I guess I listened to the wise counsel of Professor Ndebele, who then said, living like that might also lead to more suspicion that you might have done something wrong. Therefore, you are trying to avoid any scrutiny. So we should do this properly. So I'm grateful for that counsel, because today we are here.
Tate Hatang, you've been with the Nelson Mandela Foundation for more than 10 years. It could actually be close to 15 years. I don't recall very well. The investigation, though, pointed to a few procedures, either financial or human resources, that need to be changed. So as part of the way forward, are you committed in fixing those?
That's in fact, in the brilliance of the board, most of those have already been done in our absence, because it was making sure that you tighten screws there, make sure that there's common understanding of procedures and common understanding of what the policies say. So I think the board did some of that work already. Now when one goes back, as we are back now, in fact, is for us to make sure that that commitment that was made to the public, to the donors, will continue to be done properly. I think it's important to note in the same vein that the board said to us, to Limpho and I, sometimes this include how in your management style you have you might be too lenient in in implementing some of the things that you should be doing. Maybe that's time that you look at your management style also. So some lessons have been learned, Monyamane, and we are hoping that with those lessons, we will now be doing the work that Madiba had given to us to help build. I think for anyone who's given more than 10 years to any institution, it becomes part of your DNA. And I think that DNA will now continue to now be where we say, let's build from where we were.
Let's build from where we were, but I've seen reports, and I just want your comment quickly, from the anonymous whistleblowers saying that they reject the findings of this report and what they regard as predetermined outcomes that have been produced, and they are warning of grave impact. I don't know what that means, that this report will have on the Nelson Mandela Foundation going forward. How do you respond to that?
Look, the board did this independent investigation. We went through it. Difficult as it was, we gave ourselves to the process. One can't be persecuted forever. It has to end. And I think the board did what it needed to do. And afterwards, the board then convened all staff members to say these are the findings. Everyone who was there, at least the executive team that was there, each member of the executive team indicated, we are happy with the findings. One can't now be always going back to the few individuals, we don't know how many they are, and to say that we want to satisfy those ones, because otherwise it will paralyze an institution. It will paralyze us as the two people who've been accused, because it means that you constantly have to now be watching what's the next allegation. And one can't function like that, Monyamane, unfortunately.
Have you forgiven those whistleblowers? You said it was tough, and you've just used the word persecuted.
Yeah, the persecution, I guess, from my perspective, came in the form of how my family was brought into this. I think they knew no limits, and it ended up with my children brought into it, my wife, the funeral of my mother-in-law brought in there. So it's stuff like that you think to yourself, man, I think there are some limits. In terms of forgiveness, yes, I think one has to continue to do the work that needs to be done. And I hope to earn the respect of those that I clearly haven't, I've lost. I hope to earn their confidence again, because I believe that at some point they respected me and they had the confidence in me as their leader. And I'm hoping that I will work hard to build a single team, being the Nelson Mandela Foundation team, that doesn't then have some who call themselves whistleblowers and others who call themselves staff. So I commit myself, I've committed myself to the chairman of the board to say I will continue to work hard to do the work that the board mandated me to do and the donors expect of me, but to the greater public of South Africa, to say I will continue to be the person that you've always thought I was.
For how long is that commitment? Did it cross your mind that you should leave now?
You know, it crossed my mind when the first allegation came out. As I told you, I wanted to resign. But I think that wise counsel from Prof is correct. One can't leave when there's any kind of doubt in anyone's mind that something is wrong. So until we've consolidated the NMF's brand, taking it back to its greater glory days, which we enjoyed. And members of the public out there have written to us to say we've always believed in this brand and we've always believed in the Limpho and my leadership. And I think I'll stick around for a little while until such time that I believe that the stability that I had enjoyed is there. And as soon as that happens, I'll leave.
Thank you very much. Sello Hatang, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, he and a fellow executive, the Chief Operating Officer, have been cleared of any wrongdoing by an independent investigation that was led by the board. And he says he remains committed to delivering on the mandate that he's been given by the board, whose confidence he still enjoys.